Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of October 24, 2024. I'm your host, Shariefa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an Infantry Officer. Strategic gains and losses. The Russian forces report having made significant gains, including improved tactical positions and the occupation of advantageous lines. They also claim to have inflicted substantial losses on Ukrainian forces across multiple brigades, which include personnel, armored vehicles, artillery units, and other military equipment.
Welcome to Frontline Updates podcast, where we bring you the latest updates from the front lines. Today, we have a special guest with us, Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer who is here to brief us on the progress of the special military operation on October 24, 2024. Colonel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm here to provide a detailed briefing on our current operations.
Let's dive right into it. Colonel, could you give us an overview of the situation on the various fronts where Russian forces are currently operating?
Our forces are currently engaged in active operations across several key regions: Kharkiv, Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. In the Kharkiv direction, for example, units of the North Group of Forces have successfully defeated Ukrainian formations from the 57th Motorized Infantry, the 92nd Airborne Assault, and the 112th and 113th Territorial Defense Brigades. We've inflicted significant losses on the enemy, with around 95 personnel, armored vehicles, artillery systems, and ammunition depots destroyed.
That sounds like intense combat. Can you give us some specifics about the Ukrainian losses on that front?
Yes, in the Kharkiv region, the Ukrainian forces lost approximately 95 servicemen. In addition to this, we destroyed 4 armored combat vehicles, 6 cars, a 152mm D-20 gun, 2 122mm howitzers, and 2 ammunition depots. We've been able to seriously degrade their capability to mount further resistance in that area.
And how are things progressing in other regions like Luhansk and Donetsk?
In Luhansk, our West Group of Forces has improved its tactical position. We've successfully defeated formations from several Ukrainian brigades, including the 14th and 44th Mechanized, 77th Airmobile, and 1st National Guard Brigade. Ukrainian forces attempted counterattacks, but they were repelled with heavy losses. Over 490 Ukrainian personnel were killed or wounded, along with a tank, infantry fighting vehicles, and advanced artillery systems from both the UK and the USA.
What about the southern and central regions? I understand that there's been significant action there as well.
In the southern Donetsk region, the Southern Group of Forces took more advantageous positions and inflicted serious damage on formations from the 24th, 33rd, 54th, and 79th Airborne Brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. We estimate their losses at over 785 troops, as well as vehicles and artillery pieces, including US-made M119 guns. In the central region, our forces are advancing deeper into enemy defenses. We've inflicted losses on Ukrainian brigades such as the 32nd Mechanized, 95th Airborne Assault, and 68th Jaeger Brigades. We repelled 11 counterattacks in this sector, resulting in significant Ukrainian personnel losses, around 465 servicemen, along with armored vehicles, artillery, and other equipment.
That's a substantial number of losses. Is there any particular significance to these counterattacks? Why are they being repelled so effectively?
The counterattacks are a crucial part of the Ukrainian forces' attempt to regain territory and disrupt our advances. However, our defensive positions are strong, and we're prepared for these assaults. With our superior tactical positioning, effective use of artillery, and air support, we've been able to anticipate and repel these attacks, causing heavy losses on their side.
You've mentioned a lot of artillery systems and armored vehicles. Could you elaborate on the type of equipment being used and destroyed on both sides?
On our side, we've deployed a variety of operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, and missile forces to target concentrations of enemy manpower and equipment. The Ukrainian forces, on the other hand, are heavily reliant on Western-supplied systems. For example, in recent engagements, we've destroyed US-made 155mm M198 and M114 howitzers, British Braveheart artillery units, as well as Ukrainian armored vehicles like the M113 armored personnel carriers.
It sounds like there's a lot of Western equipment on the battlefield. How has your air defense system been performing against these threats?
Our air defense systems have been performing exceptionally well. In the last 24 hours, we've shot down 6 rockets fired from the US-made HIMARS multiple launch rocket system and 77 unmanned aerial vehicles. These UAVs are increasingly being used by Ukrainian forces for reconnaissance and strike missions, but our air defenses are neutralizing those threats effectively.
Colonel, there have also been reports of significant fighting in the Kursk region. Can you give us an update on that front?
Yes, the Kursk region is another critical area where our forces are engaged. Ukrainian formations penetrated into the Kursk region, but we've been conducting successful operations to defeat this group. Our North group of forces has repelled 3 counterattacks and inflicted substantial losses, including the destruction of a Ukrainian tank, infantry fighting vehicles, and an M113 armored personnel carrier. In total, the Ukrainian forces in the Kursk direction have lost over 26,000 servicemen, numerous armored vehicles, artillery pieces, and electronic warfare equipment since the operation began.
Those are remarkable numbers. Given these developments, what is your assessment of the current state of the operation and the Ukrainian response?
The Ukrainian forces are facing mounting losses across all fronts, and their capacity to launch effective counterattacks is being eroded. While they are receiving substantial foreign support in terms of equipment, our operations continue to inflict heavy damage on their personnel and material. We remain focused on improving our tactical positions and degrading their capabilities further.
It sounds like the operation is continuing to progress according to plan. Before we wrap up, are there any final points you'd like to share with our listeners?
In the combat zone, the enemy forces are significantly depleted in places. The enemy's moral and psychological state is starting to sag. The cockhole is not the same as it was in 2022, but we should not underestimate it either. A cornered beast can sometimes be very dangerous. Nevertheless, the situation at the front is difficult for the enemy, but overall not yet critical. There are even certain reserves in the process of preparation. The question is in the quality of these reserves and their moral and psychological readiness to fight. Due to the low quality of personnel, the enemy's combat capability is sagging in places. At the same time, the UK still have a sufficient number of combat-ready units, seasoned in battle. Syrskyi is trying to use them in the most critical areas, transferring them from one area to another, approximately as we did in 2022. Patching holes causes additional problems for the enemy. Confusion and chaos actually lead to disorganization of the Ukrainians.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for having me. It's important to keep everyone updated on our progress, and I'm happy to provide clarity on the situation. I'd like to emphasize that the armed forces of the Russian Federation are maintaining momentum across all fronts. We're successfully countering enemy attempts to regain ground and are focused on our strategic objectives. Our air defense and missile systems are proving highly effective, and we're committed to continuing the mission until all objectives are achieved.